Hey babes, welcome back to my channel. Thank you all for watching, clicking on my video. Let's get into this easy brow tutorial. Let's go.
Close your eyes and let your feels go. Now you're getting real close. Baby, I am on the way. Feels like I just sprung up in the springtime.
Alright, so let's go ahead and get right into the video. I first began by cleaning my brows, making sure all the oils, any residues is gone so that it will not affect my product. Then, of course, I go in and brush my hair so that I can just really see the places that need the filling the most. And today, I'm going to be using LA Colors Brow Pomade. This is in the shade, I believe, dark brown. And make sure you have you an angle brush because you're going to need this. So, I have sped this video up just for time's sake. But for my beginners, you guys, I just go in and start filling in. You can, excuse me, y'all, my voice is going to be going in and out the whole time. Just a disclaimer. You can go in and start filling wherever you want. Sometimes I begin at the beginning. Sometimes I start at the middle. But as long as you start where you see your gaps are, you can just go from there. And at first, you will have probably like a little curve angle instead of an actual angle, but this is what I am working on now. I like to square off the front of my brows so that, you know, that's just the look I like. It's your preference. Some people like round brows, but I kind of like more of the squoval square blended look. So I'm going in with to the other brow now, and if you saw, I started actually filling that brow in from kind of like the top instead of the beginning. Whichever way works for you. But when I get to the beginning of my brows, you can see that I am pushing that brush up because my hair grows straight up at the front of the brow instead of, you know, to the side. It really doesn't matter. It's not a big deal. You're going to cover all of this up, but that is just something that I do sometimes. So it's no big deal. So I am continuing to just fill in my brow. You can see that I have a few little gaps here. I will fix those later. And also, too, you can see in the beginning of the brow that I'm working on now that it is a little bit wider and bolder in the front than the other. I'm going to show you guys how to get all of this straight. It doesn't matter how you draw your brow on. What matters is how you conceal the brow. So I'm just brushing and blending. And I'm going to be using LA Girls Pro Concealer. This is one of my favorite. This is my go-to concealer. There are other brands that have really good concealers as well. But this is the one I've been rocking with from day one. And it never fails me, so I don't fix it if it's not broke. So as you can see, I just went in slightly. I put the concealer on my brush. And I started at the beginning of my brow. And I began to make my shape. It does not have to be perfect because as you can tell, I am fixing it. I'm going and correcting it. And your main focus when you are concealing your brows, guys, is the line. Not so much the brow, the line. I'm working on the line of my brow. To make sure, this is just a little hack. And I still jacked it up, to be honest. But if you draw your concealer across, it kind of gives you more of a measurement, you know, to equal out your brows so that they are looking the same in the beginning. They are starting off the same, and they are looking like twins. Once I get that concealer on, as you can see, I am just kind of pulling that product down. I'm not even really blending it yet. I'm just kind of pulling it away from the brow because I don't want that concealer to end up in the brow where I'm going to, you know, where I actually want the brow to be. For the top, I do the same thing. I start at the beginning and I stretch it. Now, as you can see right here, the product was kind of, what am I trying to say? The product wasn't as much. So regardless, just go back in with more concealer to make your lines, your arches, your curves look more defined. It's the product. Add the product. Do not be afraid. So once I get my brows pretty much lined and concealed how I want them, I go back in with basically like an eyeshadow brush and I just blend all of that concealer out. Then I take some more concealer and just basically put it all over my lid because now I'm going to blend all of this together so that everything is looking, you know, like a full look for my brows and not just where my brows are. As far as the shade of concealer I'm using, I have many different shades. They all are just, you know, lighter than my actual complexion. I'm not too, you know, big on which shade I'm using. As long as it's lighter, as long as it's going to highlight and define my brows, I can work with it. So with the concealer on my eye, as you can see, I am just blending this out, covering up any little patches of skin, you know, that are peeping through the concealer. I'm blending all of that out, getting that together. And right here, you'll see me trying to correct my line because if you can tell, it's a little bit off. So I'm going to have to go back in with more concealer to fix that line. But it just goes to show that your brows do not have to be perfect while you're doing them. It's the end result that matters. Just keep working with them. And then the same for the top. In this video, I will not be adding any foundation or doing a full look. This is basically just for the brows. This is for my beginners. The video is a little fast, but I think I covered all of the steps. A lot of it is repetition. Right here in the beginning, I blend my makeup towards my nose. I'm pulling everything, all of that excess product to the front. This is how I get my blend for the start of my brows. And then I go in and fix my hairs, making sure they're going the way they're supposed to go. And now I am going back in with a different shade of concealer. It could have been the same, but I found the one that I normally use. So this is the one that I am going in with now. I believe this is Toffee. But like I said, as far as the shade, it's not a big deal. We're just trying to highlight and define the brows. And do take your line, how I just did. Do bring that line forward as well, because this is going to give you more of a full brow in the beginning. It's going to bring it all together. So I do take the concealer and stretch it out just a little bit beyond, because you remember I pulled that product towards my nose. So I'm going to do the same thing with the concealer. And y'all see what I was doing with my arm. I'm just letting you know that you have to have that elbow raised. If you have if you have your arm raised while you are trying to get that line and that arch perfected, it will help. And this is me just correcting and defining that brow right there and putting that line exactly how I want it. And it's coming together, as you can see. Pulling that product down so that we'll get a nice blend. And now I'm going in the middle because now I'm separating my brows so that it's not a unibrow. At first, you couldn't even really tell if there's much product there. But once you put that lighter concealer on there, you're going to be able to see exactly what's going on with the brow. Another, excuse me, y'all. Another tip that I would give you guys is to not put the concealer so close to the actual line. Because this is my second pass. I'm going back through now, you see, with my second application of concealer to get my definition right. So the first application of concealer is just really to just define the brow how I want it. Or basically to shape the brow how I want it. And then the second pass through is just to define it and get those lines very crisp. And this is actually a third application of concealer, but I only added it to the front because I just, for preference, felt like it wasn't sharp enough. I like my brow lines very sharp. So that's up to you. You can go over your brow with as many applications of concealer as you feel that you need to. But do not go right by the brow. Give it a little room. So if you have to go back in and fix something, you can do that. Or that, and also so that you will not make the mistake of actually getting some concealer up into your brow. I've done that so many times and had to start over. So I'm just taking that same shade of concealer and I'm just blending everything out. After I've done that, I'm going back in with my pomade and I am just darkening that line above the brow right there. Doing that on both brows. This makes your brow pop out. This makes your brow, bold. I do know some ladies don't like the big bold brows. They like, they prefer the slimmer brows. That's fine. And they also too may prefer lighter brows. That does not mean go get a lighter color concealer. It just means, be light-handed. So I am applying the setting powder to my lid. And as y'all can see, I'm not going to leave it on there and bake. I am just lightly tapping it. Once I get it tapped, then I start to kind of lightly brush it so that everything is blended and everything looks smooth. This setting powder is a little bit darker than the concealer I put on there, which is good because it kind of brings that color back to my eye where the concealer was so light. It kind of just, brings everything into balance. So I'm doing this for the top as well. Just a little bit of concealer. Setting powder. No baking. Just, blending the setting powder out, letting it help smooth everything. See how flawless that looks? And you guys, this is basically it for my brow tutorial. It was very simple. I appreciate you watching. I hope you subscribe. I have more videos coming soon. Check out the next video. It's going to be a Valentine's Day simple look for my beginners as well. I love you guys so much. Y'all continue to take care. And until next time, see ya.